This is Lieutenant Commander Bordis. You are listening to the Redenbacher.
Welcome to the podcast that checks all your boxes and outsmarts your foxes. It's the Redenbacher podcast. I'm your host, Matt Murphy, Captain Matt Murphy. Put some emphasis on that. And I'm joined by Commander Ben Bullerwell, the one and only. How you doing, Ben?
I'm doing super fantastic, Matthew. Captain. Maybe I should say a little bit less formal.
Or
formal.
Capthew, if you want. No.
Capthew. Hello, Capthew.
Don't
How
call me
are you,
Capthew.
my friend? I'm doing well. How are you, mate?
Well, we're here and we're excited to talk about the penultimate episode of season 2. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. And we hope you join us today and today and today. And maybe tomorrow.
Oh my god. It doesn't get much better than this, guys. Not even Shakespeare himself.
No, I will actually be emotionally devastated if the show gets canceled. After next episode, I'll be dead.
Yeah, I don't know what I'll be, but it won't be happy. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, Ben, you're gonna have to fly to Nova Scotia. I'll be crying on my shower floor. Just
I'll come help you up, and we'll
drink a few beer and then
write fan fiction.
Well, actually, we will be writing some fan fiction for this show, whether or not it gets canceled. Stay tuned for that this summer. But let's get right into it. We're receiving the transmission. That's right, and today we're talking about Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, written by Janet Lynn. I think this might be her first writing credit for the show. She did a great job, and it was directed by Gary S. Lake, who also kicked ass in this episode.
Yeah, I don't recall seeing Janet Lynn's name in the credit roll before for writing, or actually anywhere else, to be specific. But yeah, I think it was a fantastic episode, well written, and very well directed. I mean...
Yeah, and Hillary Wills as well. I think she moved up to either lead editor or she's full-time editor now. I see her going around on Twitter, and she's great, as a great member of the community. So kudos to her. Good editing is when I don't even notice it, as far as I know, right? So I think she did a great job. I think this episode flowed seamlessly.
Yeah, I would happily agree with that. Yeah, super episode. And there's probably a lot of stuff going on, shooting as yourself 7 years ago and all the. There's a lot going on. Anyway.
Yeah, Adrian Palicki did an awesome job pulling double duty this episode. It was great. A really cool story.
Oh yeah, super Kelly intensive. Double Kelly.
Yeah, double trouble for sure. So this episode opens in the mess hall with Kelly, Gordon, Tala, and Ed. And Ed's telling a story about how Kelly would force him to drink all the time. I love Ed's face when he does that reaction to her when she asks him to drink. But this storyline is followed later on with how she forces him to do a lot of things he wouldn't.
Mm-hmm. It is the case, and it's actually drinking later on.
Mm-hmm.
Tries to.
Ed mentions that he just misses the relationship, and he would be ready to start it up again. And Kelly mentions, this comes up later, that Ed called her for a second date, and they mentioned how long it took and all that stuff. And we'll see later that's a crucial point in their relationship.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, as we say, Ed's saying that he's still willing to try the relationship again. It's not over really entirely in his world. The idea of it anyway. And Kelly just isn't really for it. Throughout this episode, we see what kind of a relationship Ed and Kelly do have together. And I mean, I guess it's not worth jeopardizing something like that and going through that kind of same pain and potential again, not in the sense of young Kelly, but even there's just too much going on in their lives.
And then you have the crew taking sides if they break up and stuff. It would just be a mess.
Yeah, super wacky, strange stuff.
As we've learned, a Kelly divided against herself cannot stand, just like George Costanza. Just can't.
Seinfeld. Okay, Shrek really rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
Seinfeld
just
doesn't work.
Just it's great because you can't have the world of the Orville and her relationship with Ed. They can't combine. These two worlds cannot meet or cannot whatever it is.
That's such a good episode, but anyway.
I love it. So yeah, she doesn't think that the captain and commander should be together, and I can agree with that. I mean, logistically, I think that she probably still has feelings for Ed, but she doesn't want to put that at risk. And they are a planetary vessel, so you're basically putting we do make sure relationship between other species and humans are good. So I think that's a little more important than me being happy with my love life. So that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, to be fair, the first officer's duty it's kind of to be really like unbiased and really suggest what they think towards like the captain in case there's like, like just for their input, really to see what they think collectively is good for the crew. And if you're married to someone who's in command and you're second in command, I mean, I think that it would potentially kind of make you have an unfair opinion and you'd be very potentially agreeable. I mean, I know this isn't the case for every relationship, but I just feel like it's not good because then they.
If you're in the military and the general and like his first command there are dating, it will throw things off and people will make jokes and it just doesn't work if you want to have like a strictly business kind of environment where you're just going from command to the field and doing whatever. So I can see why.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, so we're back in the science lab and Isaac has managed to utilize Dr. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. Aronov's.
Yeah.
Aronov's. Anyway, yeah. So he's trying to utilize Dr. Aronov's research. It's mentioned that it could even potentially be used to travel through time, which is pretty much what we see shortly here.
Yeah, and that's where your mind will unravel with all the theories and potential timelines that we could get. It's nice that Aronov gets another mention. We had him mentioned earlier this season in the Kalon little adventure there in Identity, and he appeared, I think, early on in the series. It's Babu Bot, as you may know from Seinfeld, and he's the first man of Earth, basically, on the Expanse. He's great. So it's great to see that again in that mention, and it comes into play in a big way this episode, where we realize that the Kalon, or Isaac in this case, has really, managed to implement his work and has managed to get some time fluctuations happening.
Yeah, it opens like a really big door to like possibility. I know Lamar says something about being able to travel through time as easily as we travel through space.
We could get a mirror universe too at some point, or something similar, the Orville's version. So that's cool. And so Isaac and Lamar are talking about this research, and then Kelly comes and sends Lamar to do a Dysonium field condenser analysis, and apparently he's the best at it. She just feels safer with him doing it, or it's just a convenient way to have Kelly alone in that room to have the device go off, and boom, it does. And I assume the device does not affect robotic life forms because Isaac was unaffected.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, I guess like later they mentioned that it's the closest, like she was like the closest in physical proximity to it, because I believe Isaac actually said something about being able to send other forms of life back in time. I'm not sure.
It'd be cool if we just saw Isaac as like a couple nuts and bolts or whatever, like a baby Isaac there, and it was never mentioned, and then he just picks it up in the episode, like, oh, just throw this in the trash or something. That'd be too sad. But yeah, so the Orville goes through some turbulence as Lamar leaves to go and do his Dysonium field condensing. I used it twice because I wrote it down. May as well get a use of those notes. But as he leaves, there's like a big amount of turbulence, and Bortus does a ship scan. We're looking for what happened, and everything seems the same. But oh yeah, there's like this weird 7-year younger version of Kelly in the science lab, which is a little odd.
Very strange. Yeah, I actually when I first time when I watched this, I saw it and I was like, wait a minute, like how is this a thing? Like how did Isaac not realize that she was there? Like, but I guess she zapped in and then he was like taken by surprise. And it doesn't even make sense when you think about it because it's like how could she have just walked out the door? Now she's super hoopty stuff. It's time travel though, guys. So I mean, buckle your time seatbelts and stay in with the present.
Yeah, buckle into your DeLoreans and get ready for some fun. It's nice when Isaac's talking to the young Kelly and she doesn't know where she is, and Isaac is so bad with social cues that he probably just she's just, her hair's a little different. I don't know, it's just Kelly doing something different or whatever. But the Kelly from the past thinks that she's in some kind of a simulation, which is an apt assumption. She's so out of it, and we learned that later on that she was a little hungover, so she's probably a rude awakening for her in more ways than one. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it would be a very strange thing to be, I mean, obviously, goes without being said, but it would be a very strange phenomenon. Like if you were just, awoken and you were God knows where, and then there's some robot standing in front of you, you might think that, yeah, this is either a dream or if you have the technology, which they do, maybe this is a simulation. It's too strange to be real. But
Plus, the Kalon could just be like a myth to them if they even knew, because Isaac was like the first of his kind to like join the Union and help them with their explorations. So I don't think the Kalon had any involvement or were that big of an entity around her time.
no, you're absolutely right, and it would be very unnerving to kind of, I guess, just be alone in the room with something that's unfamiliar to you, I guess.
No, that's true. So it's funny early on in the episode when Ed was talking about how great things were when they were younger and when they met and all that stuff. Little did he know he'd have a chance to see that exact version of Kelly walk into his life. So he,
Literally, like the Kelly from like the day after that date. Like anyway, super crazy, but
yeah, no, it works out that way. So they walk to the med bay and Kelly sees herself and they have that doppelganger, circling each other thing that we get every time there's like a copy of someone in a TV show. But, it's cool. I'll allow it.
yeah, it was super strange. I mean, obviously it had to happen. Super cool. So yeah, Isaac presents the crew with his and Lamar's hypothesis. So Isaac says the gravitational wave we encountered amplified the temporal field generated by Dr. I don't Aronov's device. In this case, the spike in field energy may have been sufficient to transport Commander Grayson's past into our present.
Yeah, which makes sense. So she's thinking about it. So that's whatever frame of mind you are, whatever memory can be recreated by Dr. Asimov's device or Aronov. I get confused with Isaac Asimov, the guy that's invented the rules for robotics. There's no coincidence that their two names are kind of similar.
No, I dig.
So Kelly then asks, she goes, okay, I have a basic question. President Kelly. She says, okay, but I have a pretty basic question. If she really is me from the past, why don't I remember all of this? And if it turns out we can't reverse it, why am I here at all? So this is kind of interesting where we're trying to think it's either a paradox here where it could be she can change things or goes back and change things, or she can't and we're in some weird time flux or whatever.
Mm-hmm. They mentioned something about like it's either like a split or it could be like temporal or it could be so they don't even really know what's going on. It's scary.
Yeah, no, it's right here where after Ed mentions that he got a B+ in temporal theory, and that's a pretty sweet class at Union Point. But Ed says, well, if we're dealing with a tangent timeline and we are able to send her back, then nothing she knows will matter. But if it's a single timeline, then we could lock her in a room and keep her away from any information about the future. I think it's probably going to end up being a single timeline. What about you?
Yeah, I would have to agree. It's definitely a single timeline. Like based on the events on like how it ends. Like, and, in well, I won't go into it too much, but in the end scene, pretty much there, right before it, when Kelly and Claire and Lamar and everyone's talking about it, and they're like, I already know it'll work, blah, 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 blah. So I would say, yeah, it must be like a single timeline, and, I mean, I don't think they polluted it too much. I mean, we'll see, but as of Kelly's being there, and guys... Time travel is extremely confusing to talk about. I'm going to apologize in advance.
No, it's a mess. It's wild. But we do get to see that Ed and Kelly bring the younger Kelly up to speed, and I won't call her younger Kelly because that's what the mistake that Gordon made, where he says, "Oh, we're here with old Kelly," or whatever. It's like, can we just call them past and present Kelly or whatever? Which for her sake we will. So. Past Kelly is brought up to date, and Ed and Kelly tell her that, yeah, they dated, they got divorced. They tell her about the Derulio of it all. And so she learns about it. So that means, so for Ed, this is just a guy that she just started seeing and liked. But now she knows, okay, I know that future. We got married and it didn't work out. So she might, that's going to change her feelings about Ed and the way she sees him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It'd just be so strange to have to, go through all that. I really feel for the past Kelly. You just meet this person that you're really interested in, and then boom, you wake up the next day and you find out everything that happened, and you know that it fell apart. And I mean, if you can really think about your romantic relationships at that point in time after being zapped in 7 years into the future and all this, I mean, it'd still be very overwhelming.
No, definitely. But imagine your future. Imagine tomorrow, your conscious wakes up 7 years in the future. You see yourself with a job you don't understand, and your life isn't what you thought it would be, and you're either gonna merge seamlessly back, or you're gonna live a miserable existence where you don't fit in your own life. It's not very good options.
No, it's pretty bleak. Yeah.
Yeah. What's interesting, I didn't realize this in the first watch, is that Kelly decides to give her younger self access to her personal logs. So she can go and see her basically entire history from there and read the book of Kelly.
It's a glimpse into the future, but not. But I mean, yeah, it makes sense. Like, I don't know, Matt, would you give yourself your personal logs?
No, I'd just say you're worse. Try to be better. But Past Kelly is escorted to her quarters by Tala, who seems like really excited to get a new friend on the ship. And she says, maybe just try blocking out what everyone tells you about Kelly, about who you are, and just do it. And in watching this episode, Tala does get a new kind of friend, right? Because no one on this ship is really like her age of the females. Like they're kind of like in different points in their life, either commander or like a doctor who's like a little older and might have a family. So Tala has no one kind of like on her level that way.
No, you're absolutely right. That's something I didn't really consider all that much. But yeah, I guess it would be very strange for Tala to be, I'm going to say like what, approximately like 27, 26, something like that maybe.
Somewhere.
And yeah, she doesn't, I mean, she has, like Gordon and Lamar and like those guys, they're a bit older. But like, they're fun and they're youthful individuals and they're exciting. But yeah, like you would long for like a closer friendship, of someone like your own age and, in many cases of your own gender, just because you guys could kind of talk about,
relate on different levels than the guys can.
Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, this would be like kind of exciting for Tala and both hopefully for I wasn't say younger, past Kelly.
Yeah, that's someone that seems interested in being friends with her. However, it's not meant to be because like, oh, this is the only person that's kind of close to me and my age or kind of like me. Oh, but she's a temporally displaced version of my friend. Rats.
Poor Tala.
What's funny is on the bridge they're discussing the time travel, and Ed says, "You guys will not get me into a discussion about time travel logic. I would rather chew broken glass." So I'm pretty sure this is what you'd get if you asked Seth MacFarlane about time travel at Comic-Con. Like, no, not even gonna bother.
So Seth, on episode 13, can you explain? I'd rather chew broken glass. Next question.
If I step on a bug and this, no, like just shush. So yeah, later on we have. Lamar and Isaac tell the bridge that there was a gravitational wave that kind of helped trigger Aronov's device and it can't be recreated. So therefore, there's really no way back to the past for Kelly right now that they see it.
Yeah, so Kelly is locked up and lost in space and time. Well, not space, but time for sure.
She's the last of the past.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So it's looking pretty bleak. It looks like Kelly and Kelly are gonna have to get used to things, which is, I mean, it's a lot to come to terms with for both parties. I don't know, but it goes in an interesting way, guys.
Yeah, past Kelly seems desperate when she realizes there's no way back. She kind of begs Ed for help. Ed's like the only person that she really knows in this whole on the ship, and she's desperate, and then she's just begging, and Ed says, well, I could bring you to Union Point or whatever, and maybe you could have a union posting. And Kelly tries to give herself a pep talk and then says, well, we know how this future's going to turn out. Nothing you do will affect the future, which is like, and she, even younger Kelly says to her, she's like, well, that's kind of like a terrible thing to say, that basically nothing I do will ever matter. And this might influence her choice to change the future later on. They said nothing you do is ever going to affect the future. That's ringing around, and you have one chance to change the future. Who knows what you'll do?
Yeah, no, it's true. Like, just like the entirety of the situation, I mean, sometimes as people, we kind of feel like we don't have any control over our lives. You might be working a job that you're not happy with. You might not be financially where you want to be. This, that, and the other thing. There's so many things. It doesn't have to be about a job or their finances necessarily, but it could be anything. But then it's kind of like, we have the benefit of the doubt that, you don't really know what the future holds, and you can be optimistic and you look forward. And but then, when your future is presented to you and you've not met maybe certain expectations you've set for yourself and all this, it's kind of like you don't really have any say over your life if you are going to be sent back. Yeah, it's kind of like you really don't have control over your future, which is actually a really scary thought. So I very much feel for Kelly of the past, and I also feel for Kelly of the future, because in this statement, she's not trying to say you don't matter, because obviously she does matter. She brought Kelly to where she is today, which is amazing. Good for Kelly. I mean, sorry. But yeah, it's just Kelly really hurt her own feelings without necessarily. It was trying to be kind of reassuring, don't worry about the timeline. But she's not thinking in terms that she would have thought 7 years in the past. It's interesting how one can kind of miscommunicate with oneself. Hey, interesting.
Yeah, some disconnected wires there. But one thing I thought of is like when I was younger, like 7 years ago, if I had my parents telling me, "Oh, you'll all see this in the future, like you'll get it, like you just need to listen to us and blah blah blah, you'll get it." But that means nothing to someone who's like younger, might have different hormones going on or whatever. They think, I want to learn these lessons for myself. You can't tell me what my future is going to be. I want this to be. So there's a lot of that element of like, hey, I want my future to be my future. I want to live it, and you can't tell me what's gonna happen.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's actually, you know what? I didn't think this was one of the strongest episodes, but now that we're actually talking about it, there's a lot going on. Not like on the surface level, but like now I'm just kind of really deeply thinking about what it would be like to be in that kind of situation. And wow, I feel for Kelly's.
No, yeah, I think I'm definitely higher on the episode than you were, but no, I think there's a lot of really cool implications for this. I love the time travel storyline stuff. Like Lost, I think did it really well in season 5 or in a really cool way. And I think when time travel's done right, it can be really, really, really good stuff. And it's funny this happening around the Avengers, where I think there might be some time traveling stuff going on in that little climax of the 11-year journey. But that's coming out this week, and I think we're going to also have a similar kind of storyline next week. Not to spoil too much of what I think is going to happen next week, not to talk too much about the future.
Oh, but Matt's pretty good with the future.
Oh yeah, Matt to the future. That's what we're all about here on the Redenbacher. No, but Kelly, I meant to mention this. Young Kelly would fit right in on the Redenbacher here. We party hard. We want to be commanders, and we want to be all this stuff, but we just are here on the Redenbacher. We're authentic.
Oh yeah, I mean Kelly of the past. Join the crew. We could use whatever, some more crewmates. Really. Exactly.
Another thing that I wanted to mention was there's a line that they say later on that I think is really Ed says, you know what? It's even better the second time around when young Kelly wore the same outfit. That's how I feel with this show, where you watch it. It's even better the second time around, and you miss a lot of stuff. So in a time travel episode, especially, I think there are implications when you look at the future. I think there's lines of dialogue that might foreshadow what could happen in the next episode.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm actually really, really excited to see where they take this. We'll talk about my excitement a little bit later, though. We're kind of like mid-episode. So anyway, back to the Orville.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so past Kelly, Kelly from the past. She's in her quarters. Anyway, she's contemplating her past and in an odd future when Tala comes in to comfort her. So this Kelly is the only other female on the bridge in the same life, in the same place as life as Tala, like as we said. So they have a pretty good bond. You know what I mean? It's kind of like having an older sister or having perhaps a sister that's closer to your age group.
There's a natural desire for this bond. Like it works out perfectly for where they both are in their lives, where Absolutely. They can both use their girlfriend to shoot the shit and talk about these issues, whether it be Gordon doing something stupid on the ship or not getting back to your timeline. Any of those matters.
Absolutely. So Tala actually asks her, she's like, well, what are your goals in life? Past Kelly says, to fall in love, to be captain of my own ship, and to help make the galaxy a better place. Tala reassures her, you can still do all those things.
Or you can use those three things to spite your future self and just roast them later on. And one of the meanest things I've seen.
I actually had the thought when it happened. I was like, do you even have to apologize to yourself, or do you know that that's you just
can you just think I'm sorry and accept your apology mentally?
Yeah. I know. I already accepted the apology. So 7 years from now, she will have accepted the apology. So it's all good.
I'm sorry. I'm forgiven. I don't know how that.
Just sitting there with yourself. It's done. Everything's cool. But anyway, Tala says something right here, and it's super duper relatable. Obviously, past Kelly is having serious doubts about her ambitions and her goals because she's already seen 7 years in the future, and it hasn't happened, and that's why she roasted herself.
Oh, cool theory. Do you think that Asimov's device is what's inside the Temple of Time in Ocarina of Time? There you go. 7 years. 7 years. I'm not saying it's that exact device, but I love the idea that it's a 7-year time jump, which is exactly what we have in Ocarina of Time. The Orville has become the Temple of Time for this one week.
You're actually right. I mean, young Kelly, you know what I mean? She waits 7 years and she comes into the future and well, she's not like exactly like the hero of time or like the wielder of the Master Sword quite
No,
yet.
but
But
she might split
she's
the timeline.
wielding second command in the Orville, which is a pretty big sword to hold.
She's wielding P90s there with Boris, just like slaying people. She doesn't care.
It's true.
Yeah, she doesn't need the Master Sword.
She's got like a
She's got the Master Gun. No, I'm just kidding.
Master
That'd be so great.
Mark II phaser rifles.
If you guys haven't played Zelda, though, seriously, the Redenbacher fully endorses the Legend of Zelda series.
Dude,
Fantastic.
This is non-sponsored, but go ahead and go buy yourselves like Breath of the Wild if you guys have either a Wii U or a Switch.
Oh,
Man, freaking
beautiful.
tastic! And
I wrote a paper on that game. It's lovely.
Oh my god, I'd like to read that. You should send me that later too.
Finger kiss to the air. It's a
Mwah!
gem.
It's a spicy piece of pea.
That's actually it's a hot piece of. There's a Family Guy bit where there's like a Swedish baker and his name is Fjorg. He's like, oh, welcome to Fjorg's Bakery. Would you like a hot piece of pea? And so there you go. It's not even that. That's within the Seth MacFarlane universe.
Not even that far fetched. Giddy up.
Either way, we'll see that on the cutting room floor of the Redenbacher. But yeah, well, moving back to the storyline. So later on in the mess hall, we see that past Kelly gets a new medical green uniform and tells Gordon, Lamar, and Tala a few drinking stories about herself that the Commander Grayson would never tell the crew, and you can kind of tell, especially when they come to like slip and slides and whatnot in space.
Grease it up in your underpants, going, yeah.
Yeah, and so President Kelly pulls past Kelly aside and kind of says, hey, can you keep those stories to yourself? Like, I'm the commander. There kind of has to be a little bit of distance and stuff. And they kind of get into it a little bit. And then President Kelly says, well, look, we can kind of be like, we're like twin sisters. We can kind of like share any secret and no one really know. And it's for our best interest to keep it.
Yeah, like our President Kelly, she was talking about how there's a certain level of distance that needs to be maintained amongst the crew. Like, they obviously need to respect their commander. But you can say this would be extremely difficult for past Kelly. You know, she's been hurled through time. She has absolutely nobody except for now her almost twin sister kind of thing, which honestly, I feel like that would be like the weirdest person to talk to about it because it's like, you know, I don't even know. It'd just be weird. It's like they're kind of the problem because like if present Kelly wasn't there, then past Kelly could just kind of masquerade as Kelly and just live her life as she'd like to, make new friends, maybe kind of, you know, fit into the swing of things. But she's pretty much just like told, you know, stop that. I know she has a little line there. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's all the duties and responsibility without the position, pretty much.
Plot twist is actually the Krill. Talea's back, and she's actually just younger Kelly. That would be crazy if she did
Damn,
that
stealing Ed's heart a second time.
Yeah. Well, he says earlier in the episode, like, I just like to date someone that's not a Krill, honestly, or whatever.
Yeah.
They showed the preview for next week. I'm pretty sure I saw Talea in the preview.
No timeout, really?
Yeah. So
my flapping goodness.
Yeah, I don't even know what the next episode looks like, but I think we saw a preview for her, which is kind of cool. Before past Kelly and present Kelly finish talking, past Kelly asks, "Are we really done with Ed? Is it really over with Ed?" And then present Kelly gives a look. It's like they said to the actor, it's like, look like you don't want to definitively say yes, because that's exactly what she portrayed there, and it looks like, yeah, she knows deep down that it's not over with Ed. She knows.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Like the moment's hesitation and everything, and when she looks
that look.
Yeah,
she doesn't want to look her directly
look
in the eye too. She like kind of like looks off in the distance.
Little does she know that was the worst answer she could have ever given, because young Kelly is still not over it, as it happened yesterday for her. Not young Kelly, past Kelly. Sorry. So
younger Kelly. Yeah, younger. We see Ed and Gordon playing a video game in, I think it's Gordon's quarters. I think it's actually probably Ed's, and it's cool. It's like a fighting game, and you don't have to wear any VR goggles or whatever. The controllers look like modified PlayStation 4 controllers a little bit, with like a flat center part there. I like this.
Yeah, it's an interesting scene actually.
It's the first time we see Gordon isn't he playing a video game in the first episode? We'll go back and cover it later on, but yeah, I think that's a nice little bookend there for Gordon.
Yeah, good for Gordon. You know, he's got some downtime when he's not piloting a shuttle. He likes to play beat 'em ups with his friend, the captain.
That's probably how he got to be so good, is playing like Star Wars spacecraft simulator games or something.
Probably right. hey, look, I got like a spaceship in the computer. Cool. 10 years later, he's piloting the weirdest vessel in the fleet.
Captain Malloy or Pilot Malloy, whatever. Yeah. So yeah, it was cool to see them playing a video game, but then we get past Kelly interrupts and she has to speak to Ed alone. And what was cool about them playing the video games, though, it did remind me of Gordon's like the older brother when he has a new game to play with his younger brother and doesn't tell them any of the moves and just like beats the crap out of them and says, "Oh, should have pressed this button," and then just like destroys them. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, no, I got that vibe as well. Like Ed, obviously, well, he either sucks or he's not much of a gamer, and he's just trying to like have some fun with his buddy, but his buddy's just whooping his ass. And
Ed's a lover, not a fighter.
Yeah, and you know what, like I can relate to that actually, because like a lot of like my friends, like they play like Smash Bros and everything. Yeah. I remember, I'd always pick up the controller to have a laugh with the guys, but oh my god, I'd pretty much be Ed. I'd be like, yo man, haha, like I'm trying to do that right now, and it's like no, but like to be fair on Ed's behalf, it seems like these control schemes are like way overcomplicated based on what Gordon's saying. I don't know. He's like, you gotta hold this trigger, you gotta press this button, you gotta tap this a couple times, and he's like, I am. He's like, no, you're not pulling the trigger in that way or whatever. And he's like, ah.
Yeah, it was basically instead of Game Scrums versus, it was Space Scrums versus. I remember watching those with like Jontron used to never tell Aaron the rules back in the day. It was great. And he would just go roast him. It felt like that.
Yeah, that's funny, man.
Yeah, so past Kelly speaks to Ed and she tells Ed that she had a really good time with him the other night, which was 7 years ago for Ed, just last night for her, and she asked him about it on the second date, and which is funny here because Ed says earlier about the timelines when deciding what to do with Kelly, he says, "When in doubt, tell the truth," and she's basically just telling the truth right now to Ed and saying like, "Hey, I liked your second date. And she is taking his approach of like, just tell the truth. It's complicated, but just say how you feel and hope it works out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, she got not really clearance from present Kelly, but things are over between them, so whatever, she can slide in. She can do
it's her decision. It's her body, her choice. Blah, 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 blah. No.
Absolutely.
But legitimately, it's like bypass self. You should have some say if you're like a clone of me. But whatever.
No, it's the truth.
Yeah. So after they confirm that they're going to go on a date, Ed does the right thing and goes and asks Kelly. He goes to her quarters, and it's funny. He says like, don't want to see it. It might get you riled up. Oh, like what would get me riled up? Like dating a past version of myself on the ship with my coworkers? No.
No, that's not a really awkward what do you call it, like water cooler conversation in the office.
Yeah, Kelly's not having it, as you'd expect. And Kelly says they keep fighting, and he's like, well, you had Cassius. And she goes, and you're quitting this with Cassius? And he goes, well, yeah, you found someone, and so did I. And Kelly goes, yeah, I think that's a little different. Like, Ed knows deep down this does not count. Like, he's totally pushing boundaries here to be asking for this.
Oh, yeah, he's got, like, a big old crowbar, and he's bending those boundaries good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, like, super weird, though, because, I mean, yeah, like, I think we briefly touched on this, but we've all had like kind of that situation where things have ended with someone, and you look back and you reminisce about it. Sometimes even years later or whatever, and you think like, hey, it'd be so cool just to like live that out for like a day or something, just to experience it. And Ed, yeah, just bam, 7 years ago. Do you remember it, baby? Like, let's go.
Yeah, go to the simulator and see if this works out for you, Ed. I wonder if he simulated it. Would it end with her going to the future and dumping himself and go, yeah, that would break the timeline. Okay, not going to do it. Actually, on second thought, no second date.
It's like a long, hard simulation.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and this is where Ed drops the line. And truthfully, I just like to date someone that isn't a krill, and which is what he's talking with Kelly. And I guess that's more of like a sympathy thing. Like, hey, Kelly, look, I've had a rough go of it dating post this marriage. Could you give me a break? Can I just date your past self? And like, they don't even know how long she's gonna be there. Like, obviously, she's not gonna be there for like, he's not gonna marry her and have her stay there.
Yeah, I mean, like at the present, like they're not sure if they can send her back, but like that uncertainty is a huge if, and it's like I've dated girls who are like, coming to Toronto for school or whatever. And man, I'm just going to say like, they're leaving eventually. Just like you can have a pretty good assumption that Kelly from the past is going to the present.
So you can't get too overly attached. It's, could go up in smoke just like that.
Yeah. It's a temporary thing because I mean, I guess we didn't really 100% know. Like, we had the doubt that she might be there. And it's like, still, though, it's kind of weird. It's almost like dating this girl, getting married to this girl, let's be more specific, and then divorcing, and then being really good mates, and then being like, hey, wait, you know what? Your sister asked me out. Is that okay? Like,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's all so much weirder than just your sister.
It's even weird. It's more personal than a sister, even.
Yeah, it totally is. I mean, you Kelly would know how she was at that age, and obviously, what we see later is she tries to not necessarily like seduce Ed, but they definitely almost end up being like physically intimate with one another. And you know how weird that would be for like present Kelly to be like, oh yeah, so like it's just
I
such
feel
a
like she would have like
weird.
a spidey sense of like something bad is happening right now. Like,
Yeah, she'd be like,
yeah.
wait a minute, did I make a huge mistake in like a alternate timeline 7 years in the past, but somehow in the current time? I don't know.
What if Kelly had a like? What if Kelly got pregnant, had a baby, and like did the time thing, went back in time? Would the baby fade away? I don't know. And like Kelly would like be like a mother to a child that she didn't give birth to. Like that would be crazy. It's
As
just
long as Ed doesn't end up his own grandfather, everything's fine.
yeah.
Whereas
All's well that ends well with that stuff. But as they're wrapping things up, Ed says to Kelly, like, look, all I need to hear is that she'll give him another chance, and Kelly says that she can't do that. So like, because Ed knows if there's no hope with this Kelly, this is the closest thing I'll have, which still doesn't justify it, and it's probably just there's plenty of fish in the galaxy, but he does not choose that route, and then goes on a date with her. So we get a little commercial break, and then we see her on the date, her and Ed on a date, and she says, "So you're telling me Isaac turned against his own people to save the Union?" Now I think this is interesting that they brought up the Kalon for a second time this episode. Well, not the second time. This is the first time we get a reference to Kalon, but we also see Isaac with Asimov's work, and then later we see two Kalon vessels in one sequence, avoid them, and then get another and see the same two vessels. I assume it's the same two. So there's definitely some. They want you to be thinking about the Kalon in this episode.
Yeah, the Kalon, I mean, obviously we knew the threat wasn't like gone, but now it's starting to feel a little bit more real. Like, I mean, I think in context, it kind of does make sense that they were talking about it, but like it's obviously like, yeah, it's foreshadowing. Like something's going to happen next episode. It's probably pretty big, and hopefully involving the Kalon and the Krill and all this great stuff in time travel, perhaps. And
I'll drop out a theory on you later on when Isaac mentions something else, but I've got a couple of theories about that.
I cannot wait to hear. Like honestly, my mind is just twirling right now thinking
I
about it
was
all.
I thought of it. It hashed in my mind after I saw the episode. By the way, I live tweeted a lot of this episode, or semi live tweeted it. So if you guys want to get in on that action, follow us at the Redenbacher on Twitter for to watch along with us. It'd be great, and Instagram as well at the Redenbacher. We are making memes and dreams come true.
Oh, buddy.
Yes, sir. So after that reference to Kalon, Ed and Past Kelly talk about how long it took Ed to call them back, call her back, and they joke about that. And then we have their waiter. We get to see Will Sasso as Muska. Now I think he's been on the show before. He's been credited with another episode, but this is the first time I've noticed him. And I didn't know Will Sasso's Canadian. I don't know if you know who Will Sasso is, Ben. He was on Mad TV, and he also was in the Three Stooges reboot that was not very successful. But Will Sasso is a treasure.
No, I wasn't really familiar with him.
Do you remember when we used to watch the? I don't know if me or Kyle Ager showed you the Kenny Rogers Jackass videos.
Oh yes, absolutely.
That's Will Sasso.
Oh my God, really?
I'm Kenny Rogers and welcome to Jackass. I love that. It was like one of my favorite sketches of all time. It's simple and it's really blunt and in your face like Jackass, so it's perfect. But yeah, if you haven't seen Kenny Rogers Jackass sketch, there's a few of them. They're great. And they do have some of the Jackass boys even in it. So yeah, there's your Will Sasso trivia of the week.
That's remarkable. I had no idea that was the same dude.
Yeah,
That's the craziest, strangest thing. Well, not quite as strange as what Kelly's going through at the present, but almost. It's a blast from my past, that's for sure.
Yeah, he plays a Mountie in Super Troopers 2 as well, and I love him in that role too. It's great. But good Will Sasso sighting there, and it was great. And Ed mentioned some deja vu here, but it is deja vu when young Kelly's encouraging Ed to drink more and more, just like the story that he mentioned in the beginning of the episode. So we see how much Kelly's changed in 7 years. She's gotten her alcoholism under wraps here, basically.
I like the point earlier in the episode when she's like, "What? Another Kelly? Like, I don't think like the synthesizer will be able to produce enough wine for the two of us."
Yeah, that's making the rounds. People love that. No, it is great. I love those kind of references. But we see the two Ed and past Kelly. They're drunkenly stumbling to Kelly's quarters. And she makes a joke. She's like, she makes a joke, and it's like, oh, it's kind of like a dad joke. It's like, oh, give your dad a kiss or whatever. And Ed's like, this is the least romantic thing ever. And so Ed kisses his dad goodnight and leaves with a smile.
Oh my god, kisses his dad.
Come kiss your dad goodnight. Like, oh.
To be fair though, I totally get where Ed's coming from. Like, not only is both Kellys, like, you know, wonderful and charming and this and that and the other thing. But wow, like, young Kelly was really fun. Like, she's silly, like, and then afterwards being so silly, like, you know, come kiss your dad goodnight, blah, 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 blah. Afterwards, she, you know, gives him a very passionate kiss and kind of like holds his hand, like, flirtatiously as she turns around and leaves. It's like, you know, she's silly, she's beautiful, she's intelligent, you know, like, you know, Ed, you're falling into quicksand.
Yeah, it's true. But the divorce hasn't hardened her into the, you know, Kelly's a little less eager to get in and make mistakes, as eager as her young self was, right? So she's a little bit more reserved. And yeah, the thing about come kiss, give your dad a kiss or whatever, it's like that is mentioned like one awkward thing, but like the whole thing is engrossed in this awkward wave of like, isn't it awkward? I'm dating you, you know, you married my future self, and she's still on the ship. It's kind of deal. So kind of just underlines just how awkward it is, and they're just trying to throw in some other awkward thing that's almost like a comparison, like, oh, wouldn't that be awkward? It's just not as awkward that, you know, you're just you know, a past version of my ex-wife.
Time travel, man. Oh my god, it makes things awkward.
Yeah. I love as Ed walks away, like that small moment of like he's walking around the corner with like a cheeky grin, he's smiling, kind of like rubbing his hands together and stuff, and then he sees like one of the lieutenants walk by, and he's oh lieutenant, like acting like the commander, even though he's like yeah, he looks like Charlie just got the gold ticket there, and he's still like trying to act like a reasonable adult. That's great.
Trying to keep it on the down low, trying to contain his excitement. Yeah, no, that was actually really funny. It's just like, Captain, Lieutenant, like
yeah. So yeah, we get past Kelly shows up to her younger self's headquarters or her quarters and talks to her about their relationship, and she mentions that their relationship that they both had with Ed, and she says that it took a toll on both of them. And then we get into a huge fight, and young Kelly just lets it rip. She says, "I know you don't want to hear it, but you have to. You're not married. You're not a captain. You maintain a distance from the crew. There are 3 things I want in life, and you haven't come close on one. You've made my future a disappointment." Whoosh! That's like the whip, like the whip of death there. Just like that's how I'm off my analogy game. That's how crazy, like insanely mean that was of a thing to say to your future self. Jesus.
It's like shooting in a game, getting shot by someone, and respawning into the trajectory of your original bullet and killing yourself.
It's like you go to laser tag and you get shot, but someone's not using the official laser gun. They've got like a, you know, an actual like a deagle there.
Off the mirror, like.
Yeah, it's brutal, and this hit hard. I'm like, whew. So yeah, this is the hardest hitting line to me since like when Tala brought up Topa's sex change, yeah, to Bortus, and Bortus was about to like rip her head off. Yeah, so this was really cutting, and that's what good writing does. It just strikes right to your core.
No, you're actually right. Like when that happened, like as present Kelly was, sorry, it always confuses me which one's present. But anyway, it doesn't confuse me when I'm trying to.
They're both present Kelly.
I know, like it's
yeah, I know.
Present Kelly from the past and present Kelly in the present. Anyway, but yeah, like our commander, I'll just go with that. Our commander Grayson was about to leave, and then yeah, when our Lieutenant Grayson shouts that out, it's just, oh my god, like.
You know what's a cool like mini theory I've had in my head? You know how on the phone there for Laura, Gordon's hollow girlfriend, she had on her phone, it was the last name Grayson. Maybe when they sent Kelly back in time, she got an acclivity for time travel and went back and messed with even more stuff.
Oh my god. Who knows?
You never know. That's just like a minor thing, but there's a lot of foreshadowing in this show. Like in the Kelly speech to Gordon, which I highlighted and loved a few weeks ago, in that same episode with Laura, she says that if there was no Ed, there'd be no Orville and all this stuff. So I think that's the future that we're going to get, where if she doesn't date Ed, there is no Orville. So I think that they had this episode in mind, and they wanted to foreshadow it before.
Yeah, I don't doubt it for a minute, actually. It kind of makes a lot of sense.
So yeah, I like that. I like the show that feels like it's all, you know, it's got a game plan. It's just moving the pieces for an amazing story, and that's what they've been doing this season. It's been great.
Yeah, this season's just been like an elaborate game of chess, man, and I'm almost in checkmate.
Yeah. So Kelly, we know, leaves crushed after she was mean to herself, and Bortus mentions that the scans have picked up 2 Kalon ships on what appears to be an intercept course. So we get another Kalon reference. They're still lurking around. We can't forget about those Kalon. And Ed tells Gordon to alter the course and head into Quantum. And then we see, they managed to escape the Kalon, but it looks like they're looking for something. They're not looking for the Orville, or any Union ships. It looks like they have, a specific reason to be out there.
Yeah, like we keep seeing the Kalon. There's like so many like little, there's like snippets of like the Kalon in this episode. Like some big's just around the corner. Like what are these Kalon doing? Why are they out here? Like why do we keep seeing them?
Yeah, I agree, and it'd be great. I would love it if I don't wear that kind of underwear, but if they made Kalon long johns, I might have to buy a pair. Kalon johns.
Kalon johns.
Yeah, and do a commercial with that cat that says "Oh Long Johnson." Have you seen that cat that like says his name? I don't know if his name is Long Johnson, but he's meowing and goes like "Oh Long Johnson," and he's like meowing. That's all I need is that. Sorry for you guys to have to deal with this shotgun of ideas that is my mind, but anyways.
No, I would buy K Long Johns. And you know what? Like in the winter, it'd keep you warm all day.
Yeah, that's a free idea there for the Fox shop. But we later see Ed and Gordon. They're talking in the mess hall, and Ed's super happy, and he's talking to Gordon that it's great, things are working out great. It's like all the kinks are worked out, and then he says, "Well, it's a bad idea. I was there for you when your marriage ended, and I helped pick up the pieces, and I don't want to go through that again."
It's a toughie there. I mean, obviously Ed is going to want to because he did it once before, and he's still very much in love with Kelly, and this is the closest thing you can get to being with Kelly, which is actually still being with Kelly, which is very strange. But if you've ever seen like your friend not have a very good relationship, get like kind of emotionally toyed with, not necessarily toyed with, but like when you just see someone go through a lot of pain. And then you hear that, they're back together with their ex-girlfriend, and you're like, oh no, like, you kind of know, especially in a sense of like time travel. It's kind of like, Ed, like you've already done this, like it's probably not a very good idea.
It's like picking at a wound instead of letting it heal in a lot of ways, where it's just like, no, there's nothing good that can come of it, for the most part. But you never know. I mean, things could work out, but most times a tiger does not change its stripes.
This is very true. And speak of the devil. Past Kelly interrupts, saying that she has a new program in the simulator that she wants Ed to try, and she invites the rest of the bridge pretty much as well. And
here we go.
Not really what I expected.
Here's the highlight of the episode. This it's not what I expected. It's so much more. This was awesome. We get to see Ed and Gordon and the rest of more of the bridge crew and the club, and it was fantastic. It was great. We see the Mocklins dancing, and before that we see Yaphet, who's dancing, and he's got similar moves to like Reed Richards in the second Fantastic Four movie, where he just kind of like spins around with all his limbs, just kind of doing what he has to do. He almost has like a new expression too. He seems like really into that dance. He's the best.
Yeah, Yaphet is the dancing queen. And yeah, it was a super awesome scene. Like I actually really enjoyed it. Like the music was interesting, and it was very much not what I expected. Rather, sorry. I was expecting. Actually, I didn't really know what to expect, but I knew I was startled when I saw like the whole club scene like going on.
No, it was awesome to see. I love the way that Ed and Gordon are almost like too old to deal with the club scene. Like they hate it. Like it helps show how Kelly is 7 years younger. She's basically a little more mature and into different stuff than Ed is at his current age. And you brought up off the air to be that part where it's like, oh Ed, are you coming? I was like, oh no, I'm just gonna blow my brains out or whatever. And you're like, oh great. Or either way, I butchered that a bit, but it was awesome.
Yeah, I love like the bathroom reference too. Like both the Bortus and Kelly was like, oh, the washroom is just over there.
Oh, bathroom is that way. Yeah.
The bathroom is that way.
Yeah. Bortus has had a busy weekend recording our intro and then going right to the club. It's been a jam-packed weekend for him.
Oh yeah, it's super cool, guys. We're both very happy about it, I'm sure.
Yeah, thanks to Peter Macon, by the way. We love you. Thanks for playing.
Yeah, a big hats off for that. That's super cool.
He celebrated a birthday over the weekend, I think, too. So happy birthday to him! And on this day as we record it, Seth MacFarlane is getting his star on the Walk of Fame, the Hollywood Walk of Fame there, which is cool.
Oh my God! Congratulations to both of you on the birthday and the star on the Walk of Fame. I
Yeah.
mean, the birthday is fantastic, but I didn't know that Seth was getting a star. Really? Today?
Yeah, today there was like a live stream and a bunch of people in the community were talking about it. And good for you. I think he deserves it for Family Guy alone, but I mean, American Dad is a great show in its own right, and the Orville is fantastic. I think the Orville, if the Orville is allowed to flourish as it is, then I think that alone should be worthy of a star on the Walk of Fame. And his movies are pretty good too. I like Ted a lot. Ted's great. So congratulations, Seth, and here's to many more years of you producing quality entertainment for us. Hmm. So yeah, we get to see Clyde and Boris are dancing their hearts out, and you see like Boris yelling, "The night is ours" and stuff like that. Like it's almost like a war thing for them. And I was thinking in my notes, it's like maybe a sick beat could unite the Mocklin and the male and female Mocklins. They never know.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, it's super funny. I love the way that the Mocklins, like both Clyden and Bortus, kind of react to the music and everything. They're so enthusiastic about it. I've never seen Bortus like with that much.
Enthusiasm, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't even seem like Bortus anymore. He was
I
just
love his dancing
really
too.
in his zone. Dancing was on point, man. Like
Yeah.
we should take Mocklin dance class.
Mocklin dance. That'd be great. They should teach that at some of these conventions. That'd be sweet. Oh, by the way, if anyone's planning on going to Fan Expo in August, Ben and I are both going to be there. If you want to meet us and talk about the Orville, we'd love to.
Yeah, it would be a super cool experience, guys. I mean, your comments and like your replies to our questions and our just like anything, any feedback from you guys is so awesome to see. It's so much fun. It's inspiring. It gives like a sense of community, really. And it would be super cool to actually get to talk to some of you lovely people face to face.
Yeah, it'd be great. And yeah, just thanks for listening, you guys, and just knowing that there's people out there that like refresh the feed, hoping to hear from us. I mean, that means a lot.
Yeah, it does. It's like I'm usually refreshing my feed to see new cat memes or something like that. But I mean, you guys are refreshing your feed to see us, and I mean,
We love it.
if we're the cat meme to your feed, that's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're still in the club, and Ed's kind of realizing that like he doesn't want that club life. Like 7 years is a big difference in someone's life, and he's kind of moved on beyond that point. He likes being able to hear when he's in a room, kind of like me at my old age. Yeah, so we later have Kelly and Dr. Finn talking over some multicolored drinks. See, like this is the friend that Commander Kelly has Dr. Finn, just like Tala, wants young Tala as a friend because they do have this insight and they can kind of throw ideas off each other. And Finn is just chock full of wisdom. Usually it's Commander Grayson that we go to for these great speeches, and Dr. Finn's just kind of, giving her some ideas, just saying things like the young always dismiss the old and stuff like that, which is quite wise.
Yeah, but Kelly doesn't really like being called the old, I don't think. But
No, that's Gordon's job to be doing that. And I can only imagine the fun that Scott Grimes had, hanging out with a young Kelly there behind the scenes. I'm sure many a joke were made, and
I'm sure you're right, Matt.
yeah, I'm sure. Hopefully Commander Malloy there managed to avoid the doghouse. Yeah, I can. There's probably like 50 jokes you could make at that point, like, "Oh, you're looking great today, honey." Oh, you're done. Roasted. Uh, and
Wow,
also,
if I only met you 7 years sooner, hey?
yeah, and I like that basically to make Kelly young, just put bangs on her. That's all. That's all young Kelly needs to be.
Yo, yeah, time out real quick. When like at the end of the episode when we see like 7 years in the past with Kelly and with Ed, just like, yo, okay, Kelly does look 7 years younger. Ed looks exactly the same.
Yeah, he pretty much does look the same. I tried to look at it. I don't think they went for the Disney special effects to de-age someone, but if we spend a whole episode there, who knows? They might. Either way, they'll probably kick on the makeup at the very least.
Absolutely, yeah. But I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess Seth aged really quick and then just stopped, or sorry, Ed aged really quick and then just stopped aging.
Oh, by the way, a shout out to Michelle Boyd. I noticed she said something. It's like, oh, looking forward to seeing my body but not my face or whatever on the Orville next week. And you guys might recognize her. She plays Lieutenant Dorset. She's she's the blonde lady. I think Gordon might have tried to impress her when he was taking the captain's test or whatever. She acted as the body double for Kelly in this episode, which was nice.
Huh. Neat.
It's probably why they chose the green jacket. Didn't even have to change their no, but she did a good job. I hope she gets more of a role on the show as Lieutenant Dorset, though, to see what she can do. But good for her for being the bar trivia answer there for that, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, you know what was interesting? Now that you mentioned that, I just kind of got a picture of young Kelly, like when she's selling the drunken, greased up underwear sliding story. And like, yeah, like you're right. She is wearing is it necessarily science or is it
I think it's
medical
science. I agree with
science?
it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So, like, I don't recall ever hearing that Kelly was a science officer before. Do you?
No, but it could just be like that's what she's kind of doing because it's what she wants to, or maybe she just wants to pick something that's totally different and say like I don't want to fall down that path or do what you do. Although she does want to be commander, but maybe she is less interested in being commander after seeing how that actually turns out and who she turns into.
Hmm. So many questions, so few
Oh yeah,
answers.
it's all up in the air. So yeah, Dr. Finn's continuing this pep talk. She says stuff like, "Oh, real is relative. I fell in love with a robot," and Claire asks Kelly what it is she really wants, and then we cut to Ed with past Kelly, and he looks like he's questioning his choices. Like, what does he really want? So they're both at a similar moment. Both Kelly and Ed are like, what do I really want here? It's like I think she really wants to be with Ed, but is not willing to risk the ship. But I think by the end of next week's episode, I think they'll be back together, and she'll be willing to take that leap of faith.
I think you might be right, Matt. I would love to see them back together. I mean, especially after kind of seeing someone start seeing someone else, like you might really. I mean, I know that he's already seen Talea before she turned into a
Yeah.
krill and all that good stuff. I think it was Lieutenant Tyler, right? Anyway, but yeah, it's like maybe after seeing herself with him in the past, like maybe that would have to stir up some old feelings, man. Like, would it not? I think it would.
It's true. You never know. So post Kelly tries to surprise Ed with like this green like lingerie kind of dealy, and he mentions that oh yeah, it's just what you wore on our anniversary. So it's really hard to keep things fresh in a relationship when you've already basically had a full relationship with the person that you're trying to date again. But he says he has the great line of it's even better the second time around. So real smooth Captain Mercer.
And you know what though? Like this is an interesting little thing I just noticed actually. Like in that moment when like they're talking there, it just made me really think like because obviously we know like Ed is kind of questioning his judgment and he's not really sure if this is like a great idea or not, as we see in a couple minutes when he kind of pulls away and everything. But yeah, it's just super weird because this. I'm gonna go back to the episode where Claire and Isaac are dating, and he downloads her entire like the entire ship's like information that's publicly available to like of her, and he just knows everything, and it's not really exciting when someone knows everything about you. Like you want there to be that level of uncertainties and like but like this really isn't the case. Like obviously to Kelly at this point, Ed is still very new because in her time, she's only gone on one date with him prior to the second date, I suppose. Yeah. But to Ed, to her, like he actually already knows like everything about her, and yeah, like I mean, I don't know, it was said once in the Orville, it might as well be said again, right? It's kind of it's not fun when you already know the person inside and out.
No, that's interesting. And it would be cool at the end of the season if they have to confirm like what timeline we're in, whether she's met Ed or not. She'll do the eye thing where she moves her eye to the left or the right, like she does there. That'd be a good way to confirm it, like without having to, through dialogue out there.
Yeah, that would be brilliant. Because actually, with no Ed, there'd be no Crooked Eye Kelly, right, or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, super cool, Matt. I love that idea.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of potential. I haven't even gotten into my main theory yet, but we're back in the story here. I noticed that like Ed's never allowed to have a normal relationship on this show. Okay, he had his marriage, and then they got split up by an alien. Then he's dating a krill, and he's getting Derulio is working his magic on him, and now he's dating the past version of his ex-wife. He's never allowed to have a good relationship. I hope if they don't put those two back together, that Ed eventually, they just keep finding weirder relationships for him to end up in.
Yeah, Ed hasn't had very good luck. He's had very strange luck. Like I was dating an alien. Oh, I was dating someone from the past. Oh, I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. We look at like the other episode when Gordon fell in love with Lara from the past there,
Yeah.
and it's like, is this really any more healthy than that was? Like, I don't know, man. Like, she's a real person, but like, it's so
It's true. Half this episode I was waiting on Gordon to start trying to hit on her too. Like, well, guys, I think it's fair. You know what, Ed? No, you pass on this. I think I'll just ask her out. I'll do the good thing here. No.
Yeah, Ed, you had your chance. We both know it. No.
I think it would be unprofessional. I'll handle this, Ed. But yeah, they both say that they like each other, both past and current Ed, past Kelly and current Ed, my bad. And then past Kelly says, "Let's keep it simple then." And then she starts kissing him. But it's like, what's simple about this at all? There's no way to keep this simple.
This is very, very not simple. This is super complicated. Like,
yeah. So Ed can't go through with it, and said it's already because he's gone through this with someone else. And then Ed's called to the bridge with the rest of the crew, and they're all in their late night gear, and 2 Kalon ships have been spotted. I love seeing them in their late night attire. Gordon, I don't know what Gordon was wearing. Some like weird pajama shirt or something.
Oh, yeah, I know. It was funny. Everyone just kind of like, they must be, I don't know. It was just funny seeing everyone in their bedroom attire. Just like on the bridge in like a serious situation. Just like, oh shit, I'm glad I'm wearing these slippers. Like,
I love this. We get young Kelly suggests that they sneak between Vendek 2's covariant rings to hide from the Kalon, which was a really cool idea and a really visually stunning moment there. So it was cool. President Kelly says that she studied that in school and wrote a report on it. So of course, she knows about that. And so the Orville goes and hides between the covalent rings and freezes itself so that the Kalon can't find them, which I thought was a smart way to hide from them.
yeah, it was actually a really cool way to hide, like, cutting in the power until what, like 600 hours or something like that. And they just like froze themselves into a piece of like frozen, like, I don't know, what do you call that? Like an asteroid? Not really, just space rock. And yeah, you actually get to see in a scene. I noticed this on my second watch through, but I should have noticed it earlier probably. But yeah, when you actually get to see the Kalon vessel through the like, we call it a sunroof of the Orville, that is a heart-wrenching moment, man. It's like they could be found out right now.
Here's what's interesting. Yeah, that scene you were talking about is very much like Jurassic Park, when you see like the dinosaur looking around and then you see like the horrific thing like looking over them or whatever. It's very horror-esque. But one thing I wanted to mention, it's time for me to break out the theory now. Why do you think the Kalon are around this area? Because for me, it's like, I just kind of thought of this now we're talking. I couldn't quite pinpoint it. But maybe the device being used, they detected that information because Isaac knew about all this information from Asimov early in Identity, and he'd been studying it. And then they went and read his computer, his files. So they would know about this time travel element, the Kalon, and would know of the power of it. So maybe they found a way to detect that kind of energy that Asimov's device uses. And that's why they were around that area after, the experiment on the ship that brought Kelly there, young Kelly. And they could be searching around to see who was using that vessel or who was using that. And my other side part of this theory is they could be using it. They might use it to go and change things so they win the Battle of Earth. So there you go. What do you think?
That is so heavy. I love it. Because, like, yeah, the whole time I was kind of thinking, I was like, naively thinking, I was like, but why would they go back to the past, like to what, like wait for a time when their creators were kind of, like easy to grow and prey on the rest of the planet? But no, you're 100% right, man. I mean, no, I swear to God, like guys, like the episode airs in a couple days now, and when that airs, you're gonna be thanking Matt. Twitter or friggin' Twitter's gonna explode.
I don't know if it's like right on. I think there's some parts that might be true, right? Like I think that we're eventually going to get the Kalon messing with that time travel because those tissues are there. Like they mentioned Asimov's Aronov's research in the same episode where the Kalon go and read his stuff. So there's no way that the writers don't have those two ideas in their mind.
No, dude, like you actually are 100% right. Like I swear to God, that's what's going to happen. Because like it makes sense. Because if they didn't want, like if they had that power and someone else had it. Like, oh my God, like it's bad, right? That is like the biggest thing. That's now like the biggest threat to the Kalon potentially.
Yeah, dude, that's a game changer. They can undo the Union, or they could do things like they can make it so the Mocklins never join the Union, and then weaken their weapons and take them out. There's like hundreds of ways they can go and take out the Orville. So we'll go and speculate more. We'll just finish, dissecting this episode. So they're on the bridge and they're hiding. They hide from the Kalon, and this works. So past Kelly then shows up and apologizes to the present Kelly. They share some nice words to each other, and Isaac and Lamar come in and announce that they have a breakthrough and that they may have a way to send Kelly back to the past, like you mentioned. And so Isaac says, by reversing our quantum plasma polarity and inducing a laterally symmetric field in the ship's gravitation emitters, we may be able to reproduce the effects of the gravitational phenomenon. Lamar says it's risky and they'll have to draw a lot of power from the quantum drive, but it can be done. And they also mentioned that Kelly's mind might have to be wiped so that she doesn't alter the timeline. We mentioned this earlier. And it looks like Dr. Finn does, she gives her a sedative and confirms that she wiped her mind.
Yeah, super crazy. Like the whole, like, have we seen someone get their mind wiped before?
I don't think so.
I don't think so, yeah. It was a neat little gadget. I believe that's what she had on her head. That little visor thing kind of looked like...
Yeah. So her mind is wiped, and then they decide to send her back. So the ship has to push itself to its limits, right? And so we get the ship. They move all functions and negotiate it so that they can try to make this work. And then the screen flashes white, and we get Kelly waking up in her quarters, and it looks like it's 7 years ago. And she kind of has a look to me like she kind of remembers. Like it looks like to me, I get the impression that she does kind of remember what she went through.
Yeah, I mean, so if she went back in time, like, how does that even work? Okay, so she was in the present, then she went to the future. Well, the future, yeah, and then she went back to the past. Like, if you go back in time, wouldn't those memories never have happened? Or I guess that doesn't make sense because then they wouldn't wipe your mind before sending you back.
I think it's her consciousness is back into this body that was in the future. That was with the Orville. But what one thing to get past that, her getting her mind wiped, is that whatever Asimov's machine was, or Aronov, or whatever, that could have undone whatever it is that erases memory, like that erases synapses and connections between brain cells or whatever. I think that could have undone that.
Yeah, I suppose you're probably right, because like Endgame, like we do know what actually happens. She gets a call from Ed, and Ed is like super eager, and he's like, "Oh, I hope I didn't wake you up," kind of thing. And she's like, "Oh no, I was just." And he's like, "Are you all right?" And she's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, I had like a really great time with you last night, and I'd very much like to take you out again sometime." And yeah, she just says she doesn't see us working out. To quote her, she says, "I just don't see us working out." So that's like really crazy, you know what I mean?
I love that line. I just don't see us working out. It's like you literally saw us not working out.
Like yeah, like you saw it. It happened. It didn't happen. Well, it happened, but it didn't happen like between them so well. That's what I meant to say.
I would have said like, yeah, how can we work out? We're on a television screen. That doesn't make sense. Jim reference, get it? No, just according to Jim.
Yeah, no, I guess.
No, that was cool. I like that, and it like the next episode is an open book, and the timeline of the show. I think it will be resolved by next week, but we could get an alternate timeline where we have Ed just never thinks he has what it takes to be a captain and is just like a lieutenant or something. Gordon wouldn't be working or something, or he might not.
He wouldn't be on the Orville, that's for sure, because we know that Ed actually requested Gordon, despite his poor service record, for being kind of a silly person
when you're flying and everything. I think I think there's a good chance of that. Also, shout out to Sci-Fi Painter. We love you. Your work is fantastic, and thanks for the shout outs. I hope you're painting something badass. In fact, I know you're painting something badass as we speak here.
Yeah, no, the other day I was actually chatting up Sci-Fi Painter on Instagram. Such a big fan of his art. Like, it's so amazing. Not just his Orville pieces, but all his pieces. You guys should check him out on Instagram right now if you have... Just do it. I don't care if you have the time or not. Go check him out.
He started a Patreon this week too, and it's a good way to support artists, so they don't have to, they don't have to work a day job they hate. They can actually produce amazing work and personalize it to people that really care about that kind of stuff. So go check him out. Good stuff. Sci-Fi-Painter.com and Patreon. So good stuff there. Anyways, yeah, this next episode could open up to anything, right? Like we could have like a new crew. We could just open up on Earth and just have Ed be in his apartment or something.
Yeah, I would very much like to see like a mirror episode where perhaps it keeps panning between 7 years ago with what just happened on the end of this episode, where Kelly kind of continues or like Ed kind of continue, and like you see a bit of that, and then it would be super cool to kind of have like flashes into their eventual future and see like the mirror episode that we kind of so love from Star Trek.
Yeah, that's true. I think there's a lot of places they can go with it, and you know what? if it's the last episode of the Orville, I know it's going to be a hell of a ride, and we'll definitely talk about it, and we'll love it. And hope you guys are there too.
Like, they can't wrap all this up in one episode.
No, but some shows do end on a cliffhanger. But they could. So fingers crossed for a renewal. It's been really fun podcasting about this, and the community has really heightened my enjoyment of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a hell of a time. And don't worry, guys, it's not over yet. We talked about our fan fiction that's coming sometime in the near future.
Hey, and if you like these episode recaps, we're going to go through the Alara, which is the era of Alara for the first season and 3 episodes. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. That'll be coming out, well, probably quite shortly, actually.
Anything else on your mind?
I sounded a little bit more enthusiastic or like excited, but no, not really. I'm kind of drawing a blank here. Just like so much anticipation for next week's episode, really.
Yeah, so I'm pretty much the same. So check us out on Reddit at u/the Redenbacher. We post some stuff from time to time. You can check me out on Reddit. I'm at Cocker the Spaniel, all one word, like a Sonic the Hedgehog character. Also, the Redenbacher Twitter, which I mentioned, and Instagram, both at the Redenbacher. We have a Facebook page, the Redenbacher, and we love the Orville Memes Depot. We post in there all the time. That's a great resource. And yeah, that's about it. From the Old Dirty Bastard sector, for Commander Ben Bullerwell, this is Captain Matt Murphy, signing off.